Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Base Hit Ball 4 podcast. My name is Glenn Negris, alongside Scott Roswald, Alex Cashman, and Tyler Blumenstick. Spring training is underway. It was the first official day of full squad reporting for four workouts. Pitchers and catchers reported last Wednesday, I believe, and we get spring training games starting this upcoming weekend. So it is officially baseball season. And the baseball season was rung in by a monster extension by one of the youngest and most exciting players, superstars in Major League Baseball. That's Fernando Tatis Jr., getting himself a 14-year, 340, I believe it is, $40 million contract extension. He is going to be a San Diego Padre through the 2034 season, I believe. So that infield is very expensive, especially the left side with Machado's $300 million plus contract of his own. So that's around almost $750 million just dedicated to the left side of your infield. But nonetheless, over the course of 14 years, that $340 million rounds to about $23-24 million a year. I think we touched on it a little bit last week, but he had his press conference yesterday, said all the right things, and it's just really important that this guy is going to be a San Diego Padre for a long time. He's going to be one of those rare guys like what we saw with Jeter for 20 years that's going to stay at the organization that he grew up with from the get-go.
Two things. One, I just realized I forgot we were recording. I'm staring at myself in the nose. I'm not picking my nose. I got a pimple, I think, and it really hurts. Two.
What a great start. What a great start to the night.
Two.
Wait, Cash, I think somebody's
Glenn,
in your ceiling.
Right.
Somebody left some footprints behind you, I think.
Oh, yeah. New scenery down here. These are my handprints from when I was 5 years old.
Can we see a comparison?
Big hands
there
for a 5-year-old. Jeez.
Good job, Cash. You're really growing up.
Yeah, right. Two, Glenn, I agree with you. You're right. Back to baseball. However, I don't think we can say, right now that he's going to be another guy who's with his team forever, because we've seen all too often that these guys forced their way out of deals. No contract is safe anymore. There's no such thing as loyalty in sports anymore. And like the days of Jeter and Mariano kind of gone.
Yeah, but it is I believe he has a full no trade clause. So
well, that's my point. So now he could force his way to any team he wants.
Yeah, but
he wanted to get out.
Yeah, it would be up to him. But I don't know. I think he's there for the long haul, especially with Machado, and then the way that they're trending. Glenn mentioned they have like $600 million just on their left side of the infield. Total infield is getting paid like $800 million with Hosmer's contract, and the kid that they signed from Korea, Hae-Sung Kim, is apparently going to be a pretty good player. But yeah, great contract for Tatis. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when we talked about MLB The Show cover. This he's becoming the face of baseball. And that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be Mike Trout. Like, he doesn't want it to be. Like, let Fernando Tatis be the face of baseball, a guy from Latin America who can, touch a lot more people. Like, it expands the game globally. Great signing for the Padres. The kid is phenomenal talent. And he's going to project to be that for a long time. Like, we're not even like at the peak yet. Like, we're still trending upwards for this kid.
I would echo everything that they just said. I mean, it's a great sign. You can't really go wrong. And like with the way that contracts are moving, where every guy is the next highest to get paid, locking a guy down for that long is just,
yeah, it's a great move for the Padres.
It seems like a huge overpay now and an unnecessary way to spend the money when you still have him under a very team-friendly contract. But like, you're going to see in 10, 15 years from now that is ridiculously good when people are getting $50 million, $60 million a year, if it even gets there, which at this track rate, we will, which is pretty crazy.
There's a lot of ripple effects that this contract can have for other franchises and other shortstops, specifically the shortstops next year that are free agents. But first off, before we get into that, I want to talk about the Padres for a second, because obviously the Padres, in San Diego, it's not Los Angeles, it's not New York, it's not Boston, it's not Houston. So they don't really have the, I guess, financial wherewithal to, make all these, or so we thought, didn't have the financial wherewithal to make all these deals, but they have. And I think that the ripple effect now, and I think that this is going to be a conversation that we could shelf for later in the episode, because I know Garrett Cole today had some comments about, using analytics and using server side to suppress salaries and stuff like that. The San Diego Padres are proving that a quote unquote small market team can, if they want to, make significant financial, I guess, commitments to very good players and superstar players. So I wonder if this becomes a scenario where, other small market fan bases look at their team and say, hey, the Padres are doing it. Why can't you guys do it?
So, serious question.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny. What's the definition of a small market team?
It has to be
A really good question.
That's a great question.
So,
Actually.
the reason I'm asking is because I feel like that term was used before social media, before MLB.TV.
Well,
I could sit here and watch any game I want now, right? And every game's nationally televised. I mean, every team is nationally televised at some point or another. Sure, the Yankees are going to be nationally televised a hell of a lot more than the Pirates. But if I'm a Pirates fan in New York or New Jersey, I could watch a Pirates game. With social media, we know all the moves that the Pittsburgh Pirates make, even though we don't live in Pittsburgh. So I think that the term small market team is just a scapegoat to teams that don't want to spend money anymore.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I tweeted this out when the contract was announced for Tatis. I said there's no such thing as a small market. There's just owners that just don't want to spend. That's kind of that's the hill that I'm trying to die on right now.
Yeah, but in the generality, like the term like small market is coming from like TV. Like, what are your TV ratings doing? Like, I think that's kind of how they're ranking it. I just looked it up real quick. San Diego is the 27th largest television market in the country, behind Pittsburgh, behind St. Louis, behind cities like Portland, Oregon, Sacramento, Cleveland. Like, there's like San Diego is like a nice city. Like, you would think it would be higher, but I think that's where the term comes from, Cash. But I think Glenn's absolutely right. Like, in baseball, there shouldn't be a small market team. And the Padres are laying that groundwork and setting up that blueprint for the future for teams like the Pirates, like the Orioles, like the Royals, Mariners. Like, invest in your young guys and then go out and make splashes like Machado. And like, you can do it. Like, there shouldn't be anything holding these teams back. But yeah, just it's a good thing for the Padres to get him locked up, and he's going to be here. Glenn, you did mention that he's a homegrown guy. He kind of is, because he spent some time in the minors.
He was in the White Sox organization.
He was traded for James Shields, who absolutely was garbage once he got traded there. And like, we talk about the White Sox as being like a huge threat now. Imagine if they had if they had Tatis along with Jose Abreu and Tim Anderson in that team. Like, that would be incredible.
Did you have Anderson and Tatis?
Were they contending that year they went out and got Shields?
The White Sox, I guess they were in the hunt. They went out and got Todd Frazier as well.
Great clubhouse guy.
Yeah, it was one of those weird situations. Like, I think they were like on the cusp and they decided to buy, and clearly made a bad trade. And another one of the nuggets from the signing is it's the same year that the Mets contract with Bobby Bonilla is ending. So like,
that's amazing.
Just so long out, and a guy like Bobby Bonilla, who's been out of the league since like 2000 something, still going to be getting paid by the Mets. Yeah, I love the contract for Tatis.
Can I add some color to this real quick?
Go ahead.
Since I just want to piggyback off the Shields thing before we get too far away from it. At the time, I pulled up the article from 2016, June 4th. At the time that Shields was traded for Fernando Tatis Jr., he was 2-7 with a 4.3 ERA in his second season with the Padres.
I would love to know.
That hurts, man.
I would love to know, was Tatis?
Yeah,
what year was it?
Who was the scout?
2016. So Tatis had to be 18 years old or something like that?
Even so, man.
5 years ago?
2-7 with a 4.28.
That's like the Yankees trading Dominguez because it's a similar age. Dominguez now for what, like Dylan Bundy or something like that?
Well,
That's
I don't
probably
know.
a pretty
I mean,
solid comparison.
I don't know. Was Tatis that big of a?
I don't. That's what I want to find out. I want to
Tatis
know
wasn't even that
when.
big of a prospect at that point.
So
That's what I'm
he
saying.
just exploded at San Diego. So like the White Sox probably had no idea what was happening.
Like, who was the scout that agreed to that trade that said, yeah, he's comparable for James Shields 2-7. That's okay.
You can't even say you don't know what you're getting with Fernando Tatis Jr. You look at the guy's birth certificate and you know what you're getting, or you have a pretty decent idea. Like, I don't know.
Like they had Tim
He's
Anderson.
got the last name.
I guess I don't know if they had like a shortstop clog where they would have never been able.
But like even Tim Anderson at that time wasn't like I think he was a higher rated prospect. Like,
Yeah.
But when he first came into the big leagues, he wasn't this guy that he is now. Like he's another guy that.
I mean,
is
I feel like
developed.
if I had to guess, and this is I don't know anything about what the White Sox and Padres discuss, but if I had to guess, maybe it was a situation where the Padres asked for either and the
Mhm.
White Sox decided to get rid of the guy that was further away. That was probably what ended up happening. I don't know. It could be, but
Seems logical.
The point of the
Hindsight
story
2020.
is,
Well,
go ahead.
But didn't the Yankees do the same thing with the Cubs when they traded Chapman? Didn't they say it was Baez or Torres?
I think it was Torres or Schwarber, and the Cubs chose to keep the guy that was already in the big leagues.
I mean, in retrospect, it worked out. They won the World Series for both teams,
Yeah,
I guess.
They did. It worked out for both teams. But the moral of the story for this is that, Tatis now sets the bar for not only young superstars, but more specifically the young superstar shortstops that are about to be free agents at the end of the year. And that goes for Lindor and Story and
what's
Baez
crazy?
and Correa.
Not to harp on this because we already harped on this, but what's crazy is in like Tyler said, in 2 or 3 years, this contract's going to look like a steal.
It already does at $20 whatever million. Like,
Yeah, you got to
I'm
think.
pretty sure Ian Desmond is getting paid more to sit out. I swear to God.
This year, yeah. He is.
It's crazy.
Because you think Lindor is he's not going to get 14 years because he's a couple years older, but he's still in his 20s. He might get 11, 12 years.
No.
Yeah, why
think
not?
So? I would say more like 7 or 8.
He's 27. I think he'll go 10 because Cano got 10 at 30.
That's a good point,
Yeah,
actually.
Lindor will get 10. So yeah, that like Lindor can still beat the annual average salary pretty easily.
Good point.
And the Mets are probably killing themselves at, Tatis got this contract and now they're going to pony up,
Oh, the Mets are
so much
screwed.
more.
Puts even more pressure on the Mets to get that contract done.
And the people who are thrilled about this are the Trevor Stories, or the Lindors, or the Correas, or the Baezes, because they know this is now the benchmark for what a shortstop's going to get. And it's insane because what was the previous benchmark for a shortstop? Who was the highest paid shortstop before this?
Was it Tulo?
Might have been Tulo.
Really? It's
I don't know.
possible.
That's something to look up. But end of the day, I think that this means a lot for specifically the Mets because they traded for Lindor and they still have yet to extend him. If they would have got the extension done almost immediately, they would have had more leverage because they didn't have a Tatis extension already as the benchmark.
So coming into the year, Xander Bogaerts was the highest
Yeah.
paid shortstop at $20 million. But I feel like Troy Tulowitzki got more money like at his point. But yeah, Xander Bogaerts he's a good player, but he's definitely not the best shortstop in the league. Actually looks like Tulo was right at 20 million as well. So I don't know exactly who the benchmark overall was, but going into the year, if you're trying to beat out Xander Bogaerts, like good job for Tatis because he's a way better player.
You guys got anything more?
Got nothing.
You got nothing more? So yeah, Tatis and the Padres obviously going for it. They saw that the Dodgers matched everything they did with Bauer. Now the Padres really couldn't do much more after that because not a lot of people were still available for them to get. So they decided to lock up their own guy. So that's going to be a real fascinating rivalry. I think somebody on I don't know who on the Dodgers said it or somebody on MLB Network said, the 19 times they play this year, it's going to be like a World Series or a playoff game. And I think that couldn't be more true. I think this is probably the most fierce rivalry right now in baseball because the Red Sox have taken a step back. We don't know what the Rays are really going to be, and then the Yankees are going to be up there. Until the Mets challenge the Braves, I don't know. Cardinals, Cubs are kind of taking a step back, and the Cubs are taking a little bit of a step back, and the Cardinals look like they're the only team that wants that division. So I think the premier rivalry in baseball right now is the Dodgers and the Padres, and you can make an argument that the Padres might have the second best record in baseball by the end of the year and still have to sweat out a 1-game playoff.
It's possible.
I think that's absolutely fair. They're probably the two best teams in baseball on paper right now. You never know what's going to happen, but they've done a really good job of, loading up and saying, "Hey, Dodgers, here we come." Like it's going to be fun to watch those two teams out west all year long, go after it. And you know what? And then going into next year, the Padres get Mike Clevenger back. Like this isn't like a 1-year wonder thing. Like they're building something for the long run here.
Oh yeah. Got nothing more.
Let's move on to something that's not as good for the game like Tatis was. The Mariners president resigned either today or yesterday. I'm
It was 2 days ago.
It was today.
Days ago?
The comments were 2 days ago.
Comments were 2 days. Basically, he was at this, I guess, club or some gathering of people, and he was caught on recording saying, I guess, disparaging things about players who don't speak English and about how he has to pay for interpreters. And he also said some things or basically bragging about like keeping high prospects down because he wants to manipulate the service time. He said that, top prospect for the Mariners, Kalenic, who they got from the Mets in the Edwin Diaz trade, he basically said that he would never get called up, I guess, last year because the service time he'd gain an extra year. And, when I read this, I was, first of all, appalled because that's just a terrible, terrible thing to say, especially about the interpreters and players who, come to this country, don't know how to speak the language. Now you're criticizing for them. That's just terrible. But the service time thing is also bad, but it's not something that's surprising because this is like the worst kept secret in baseball. This is what organizations do. And Garrett Cole came out today and said he's someone who's part of the MLBPA, I guess, leadership, group. He basically said that, this has been a problem that a lot of players have been talking about forever and how unfair it is that, players that deserve to be on a major league roster get held out for weeks or months at a time. Remember the Chris Bryant thing years ago was a whole big controversy when he was getting held back by the Cubs for I think it was 3 days or something like that before they can bring him up, because then you get an extra year of team control. This is something that I'm not sure exactly how you fix it, but it's something that definitely needs to be addressed in the next CBA, because a game that's been predicated, we just got done talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. We talk about these young kids all the time. We should be able to see them as soon as possible in the big leagues. And it's terrible that organizations not only do it to benefit them as an organization, but they also seem to brag about it and say, look at how smart we are.
First of all, not every organization brags about it. This guy's obviously a scumbag. And now I don't know that for a fact, but what I do know is that I can't imagine teams that are in the hunt, unlike the Mariners, who are willing to keep some of their better guys down and brag about it. Second of all, I don't think that this is something – I don't blame the clubs for this. I don't blame, the Mariners for doing that. Obviously, like I said, he's a scumbag for bragging about it, but I don't blame them. I mean, a full year of time, a full year of control, that's on Major League Baseball for that rule. Whoever's fault that is, that's on Major League Baseball. But you got to play the game. You got to play the long-term game. Because in the end of the day, if you sacrifice, say, 3 months for a full year, that's just bad management.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cash. You can't blame them for doing it because every single team does it because it's in the rules. It's a terrible rule because it holds players back from when they're able to come up. Chris Bryant won his grievance against the league, against the Cubs for them doing it to him, which – it's getting him into free agency. He's a free agent at the end of this year. He would have had another year onto it. But yeah, and at the end of the year, those are the times where you want to bring up your young guys, especially if you're out of it, like the Mariners were last year. Bring those guys up and see what you have in them for that potential because like Kelenic is going to be there for a long time. That Julio Rodriguez, another player that was mentioned by the CEO or president, whatever it was. He's going to be there for a long. Like they have a lot of guys that are
Is
in
this
the pipeline.
is this only for drafted players? This rule?
No, it's international free agents as well, like prospects.
Right. So international and draft, but like not if I went to a tryout and the Yankees signed me, I don't have to. There's no service time for me, right?
You do. You're no different
Yeah.
than anybody else.
Yeah, it's every new prospect, anybody that's not a big leaguer, your service time clock doesn't start ticking until you play in the big leagues.
I see.
And it's just the way that it is. Like it's a goofy system, like no other. Like, and it's just because baseball has all these minor league sports, like or minor league teams that their contracts operate differently. They don't like start taking like you don't get a big league contract until after arbitration. It's a weird system. Like every other sport, like your rookie deal starts and that's it. Like you're there, you're playing, like you're the guy. Like I don't know. It's just kind of how it is. It's a dumb rule.
Garrett Cole says it's happening with a lot of clubs and it's not productive for anyone. They're not putting the best players on the field for people to see. This guy is talking about players making him money. The product is the people he's talking poorly about. So
Yeah.
He continues. He says it's tiring. I think players are over it. If you haven't been awakened to that type of behavior, that's just what goes on. I don't know how to fix it. I just know I don't like it. So it as Scott said, and how Garrett Cole is kind of saying, it's kind of hard to fix this issue because I don't think there's a way around having a service time kind of rule when, baseball is really the only sport, the NBA and NHL have a quote unquote minor league system, but it's not as advanced and complicated as baseball's because there's so many teams and there's so many players. So I don't know how you fix it, in a rule or a law. It's just organizations just acting in good faith. And obviously the Mariners haven't for a number of years.
When was the first time like you guys ever heard about it? For me, it was Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant, yeah. Chris
Like
Bryant
the first time like this became like a thing. Like I don't ever remember it being an issue before that. And I think it was just because Chris Bryant was so highly touted coming out of college. He was such a threat. So when he got to the Cubs, it was like, oh, he shouldn't take him long to get there. And everyone knew how good he was going to be. And now it's a yearly thing that we're talking about. Certain guys going down to the minor leagues for a couple weeks. Like the Braves did it to Acuna, I believe. They sent him down for like a couple weeks to get that extra year of service time. I don't know. It's just kind of, it's dumb. And as Garrett Cole said, like no one really has a solution to it right now, but it kind of needs to get worked out.
I have more of a problem with the fact that he said that the team's best pitcher is boring, in quotes. I mean, I'm assuming it's Marco Gonzalez he's talking about because he is kind of boring, but like
he changed his Twitter bio to boring person or something like that.
Interesting. Okay, that's kind of funny.
Not boring.
He's responsible for that. Like, don't sign a guy if you're expecting your ace to be exciting. Don't sign a guy is boring, quote unquote. I guess I don't know. Like. It's such a weird argument to make. The guy goes out and he pitches. You don't put any talent around him. He goes every day and he shoves like above average pitcher. He's not like an ace of the league, but I don't know. It's frustrating. He's just deflecting his own failures onto other people, and it's just messed up.
I just can't complain that I just can't believe he complained about having to pay interpreters. Yeah, that's horrendous.
He went that far. I thought he just complained that they weren't learning the language quick enough.
Nah, he said that it's an issue. We got to pay these interpreters because they're allowed to request them and have them on staff, and to bash them for that, like that was really like the main crux of the issue.
That just means he has no interest in speaking to any of his players, regardless of language barrier. Because in a guy in his position, would you not want him to like speak to his players and at least have conversations with those players? Like. Saying you don't want to pay interpreters is saying I don't care to speak to these people because obviously you can't understand them because of a language barrier. It's just I'm sure it's the same exact thing with people that speak English. I feel like this guy just doesn't care.
This Bleacher Report article says that Grant Bronson and Kate Prosser, not getting that right, of Lookout Landing, which is some website, provided a full transcript of the comments earlier this month, including him, the Mariners president, complaining about paying $75,000 for an interpreter for pitcher Hisashi Iwakuma.
$75,000. Like you're
$75,000. All right, I'm gonna go download Rosetta Stone.
But how horrible is that? And the Mariners have been an organization. They had Ichiro forever, right? They have a lot of players that needed an interpreter, and a lot of teams do, because a lot of talent comes from Asia and from Latin America. And for organizations to say we don't want to pay for an interpreter, how is that helping these players that you're bringing in? How is that making them comfortable in a new setting and in a new country? It was just a terrible thing to say.
I think we don't really have to harp on this because it's kind of like a one-off.
It's just another black eye for baseball in an off season that's had quite a few of them.
No, I don't agree with that. I would think it's a black eye for the Mariners, but we can go on after that.
Well, I was reading an article before that said Dipoto and who's the owner?
Nintendo.
Oh,
they're owned by Nintendo too, which is crazy. That's a Japanese company.
Are they still owned by Nintendo?
Nice little connection there.
I don't know, but I just had a brain blast. So.
No, John. No, that's not it.
Way to ruin my fun. Damn it, Scott.
I think that they used to own them. The owners are okay. John Stanton is like the managing partner. They have like a bunch of different people.
Well, Scott Service isn't happy either.
Nintendo owns 10% still cash.
Bingo.
It's not a bad stake. I mean, it's pretty bad for them actually. Like they're just pumping out Nintendo Switches and just losing 10% on the Mariners every freaking year.
Let's move on. Let's move on to on the field baseball, because everyone's reported. One injury for the Yankees, I can just say quickly. Clark Schmidt is going to be out. He was going to battle for the 5 spot. He's not. He has like a little bit of an elbow issue. It's not Tommy John.
Not
related,
yet. You know how the Yankees operate. Give it a week.
That's a good point.
Give it 2 weeks.
As of now, it's not a Tommy John thing, but as you said, it always could be. But injuries are going to happen, especially in spring training. I know we, as Yankee fans, the 3 of us, me, Cash, and Tyler, are kind of just like numb. Like every time there's an injury, we're like, oh, here we go again. But like injuries happen to every team in spring training. So best case scenario, Clark Schmidt is only out a month and he'll be back by May or whatever.
I want to dive into something super quick. It's kind of what we don't like doing, which is diving into baseless things. But I feel like Tommy John surgery could possibly be a manipulation tactic to push people further along in the process that you don't necessarily have a spot for right now. I think it's possible. We've seen many young
wild
guys.
Conspiracy theory.
Holy
it's either
shit.
It's either that or it's either that or Tommy John is like a serious issue that
you think, or
is
you
running rampant around the league.
Hold on. Let me just get this straight. Are you saying that you think that organizations make players go under surgery, a serious surgery, to manipulate their service time?
Yeah, now that you put it that way, I'm going to rescind what I just said. Let's continue.
Okay. I'm glad we're there.
I wasn't really making like a complete
But I will say,
I just needed to say something.
I know in terms of Tommy John surgery, there has been instances where people or players just say, you know what, I'm probably going to get it anyway. So they get it out of the way. And, the myth, or I don't know if it's a founded myth or if it's real, but apparently you throw harder coming out of it.
Your arm is stronger. You have stronger ligaments.
So apparently,
the original thought was that once you get it once, you don't need to get it again, but that's not the case anymore.
No, there's been
talking about the
people
COVID vaccine.
No, we're not doing that today. I thought
you were tired.
On Friday. I thought you were tired. I thought you didn't want to.
I told you I was going to yell today to wake myself up.
I'm getting mine on Friday. Just a little.
Oh, good for you. I haven't got mine yet. My parents have. They get their second dose on Friday. Yeah. So like the story.
Maybe I'll see them there.
Yeah. I hope not, because then you'll just talk bad about me the entire time.
1000%.
So yeah, the story with Tommy John story is like kids in high school, kids in college will just get it. Hopefully they throw harder and then they don't need to get it. But that's
so garbage.
It is garbage.
For the same reason that you just said, like you're going to go under surgery for the chance that you throw a little bit harder.
You guys should go read the arm by Jeff Passan. It's a great book. It's all about
Love Jeff Passan.
all about Tommy John surgery. It's a really good book.
Dream guest for this podcast would be Jeff Passan.
I mean, my dream guess would be Derek Jeter. I mean, why are you shooting low? But
I don't think Jeff Passan's not shooting low.
in comparison to Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Slide in the DMs, Glenn. See what
Glenn,
happens.
you could have threw out Gleyber Torres. That's still shooting higher than Jeff Passan. And Jeff Passan's
I
respected.
think
But
you guys
now
are
he's
mad
now he's
disrespectful
never
of
going to
Jeff
come on
Passan.
the show because you guys have disrespected.
He will never
I'm not
see this clip.
disrespectful.
Someone who's not going to come on the show is Marcus Stroman because I am blocked on Twitter.
So am
by
I.
Marcus Stroman. How'd you get blocked?
I don't know. That's the whole
Well,
issue
half
with
the
Marcus
podcast
Stroman and
got
blocking
blocked.
people. It's like
So,
a big issue.
You know what's crazy? In all seriousness, if he blocked you guys, and it's not like you guys have such a huge following where things blew up, especially Glenn. I feel like
I think I have more followers than Tyler. But
I'm checking this because
no,
if
maybe-
so, I'm leaving
maybe
the
not,
call.
Maybe not.
I don't really have
My
that many
point-
followers at all. I have 343.
Oh, he has
Glenn-
one more follower than me.
Glenn, but Glenn does have a tweet that got 521 retweets and over almost 2,000 likes.
Yeah, but it
I've
wasn't
never
a
been
baseball
viral.
related tweet.
But
Purely
still,
organic.
I
steady
went
growth.
viral once, but nevertheless, that's not my point. My point is that if Stroman saw your guys' tweets and blocked you, that means he's reading his tweets. So Marcus Stroman, I would love, and I want to tweet this at him, Ty. So make sure you get this clip.
We got it. Trust me.
Stroman, I think that you should come on our show.
I
and
didn't say
defend your-
anything wrong.
Defend your honor against these two
So I'll,
scumbags here.
I'll say what I said because Stroman, he was asked about how excited he is to be a Met, and then he just talked about the Yankees the entire time. All I said was it seems like he wants to be a Yankee really bad, or that the Yankees live rent free in his head, which is not wrong because he always seems
I
to talk
feel
about
like
the
he's
Yankees.
on this fake revenge tour, like that he just built up in his own head where he's like, screw everybody else. Like, I'm just going to go. And like, but nobody really has a problem with Marcus Stroman. Like, aside from the fact that he creates a problem in the public for himself, I think.
Marcus, we need you to defend yourself on this show, all right?
Didn't
I feel like
Cashman-
everyone likes should like
I think
Marcus
I
Stroman.
don't have an
Cashman-
issue with the guy.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why he like goes out with this whole underdog mentality when
I think
like
a couple of years
he's
ago at the
not.
deadline, the Yankees didn't make a move, and Cashman said something like, "I don't think anyone available would have been that much of an upgrade over what we already have." And Stroman, he never said Stroman by name, but Stroman got traded to the Mets that same deadline. So I think he took that and he made it personal. But like,
I
it's been
really
two-
thought
it's
you were
been
talking
2
about me
years.
for a second. I was very
No,
confused.
not you, like Brian
that-
Cashman.
I was very confused.
No, but like nobody in the Yankees organization, nobody of their fans, nobody cares about Marcus.
if he wants to keep that in his own head and he wants to like have this little revenge tour against the Yankees, like go ahead, like go crazy every time you
the
go out
Yankees
there.
never
like,
wronged him though.
but
They just didn't
he
acquire
feels
him.
like they wronged him because they didn't bring him in when like they had people that were obviously worse than him, which like I agree with Marcus Stroman. to
Which
be
backs up my
completely fair.
point that the Yankees live rent free in his head because he's offended that they didn't trade for him.
I'm saying he should keep the rent in his head and not on Twitter.
The Yankees live
How
rent
is he
free
gonna,
in
how is
everybody's
he going to
head.
handle the
It's
New
not
York
just
media?
it's not just Marcus. It's everybody's head. The Yankees have won 27 World Series. They better live rent free in everybody's head.
I don't know how he's going to, survive the New York media with the Mets actually having expectations for once. Like the second Marcus has a bad game and the Mets fans turn on him, it's over. He's going to
Marcus, we need you
he's
here,
gonna
man.
spiral out
Defend
of
yourself
control.
against this idiot.
No,
He's
I
not going
think
to see
I'm
this. If I retweet it, he's not going to see it already.
He's
Like,
going to block it. He's going to block.
He didn't block me.
He's going to block. But he
You don't
seems to block
retweet the show
everybody.
anyways, Cash.
Yes, I do.
Sometimes, selectively.
Well, when I see it,
Just saying, I saw an opportunity and I took it.
I'm a
Wow.
little spacey. I gotta be. Never mind.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Did you say something to get blocked? Did you say something to get blocked by Stroman, or did you just wake up one
No,
morning? and
like
look at
I
his
made a
account and
tweet
he's
about
blocked?
this entire situation. I'm gonna find it.
He probably in the search bar has his name, and you said something, you subtweeted him.
Yeah, it's
Something
weird.
less than polite.
If
Wait, I
that's the
typed in
case, that's absolutely hilarious. That Marcus Stroman searches himself on Twitter
sure he
to look
does.
for hate.
I would bet my life that he has
I mean-
Marcus Stroman in his search history.
Kevin
That's-
Durant does.
Oh yeah,
Kevin
he
Durant's a
definitely-
snake. So I mean,
Stroman has a burner. He has a lot of things.
Oh, I found the tweet. I know. From October 21st. If the Yankees sign at Stroh, he'd be exactly the pitcher Sonny Gray was supposed to be in New York. That's like a compliment.
That's a
and
compliment,
I got
'cause
blocked
Son-
for it.
Sonny-
How
Sonny
thin of
Gray
skin could you have?
You didn't say if the Yankees get Stroman, he will become what Sonny Gray was in New York. You said supposed, and so Sonny Gray was supposed to be good.
That's what I'm saying. He just
I just don't think I don't think reading comprehension just is his.
No, he just wants to be angry. He just
wants to be angry.
It's selective.
He thinks like
reading
he's this
comprehension.
He thinks he's like this Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant guy when he's decent at best.
That's what I was thinking. Like
Yeah,
he's trying to take that Jordan mentality and
like you listen to him talk, he speaks like he has 6 Cy Youngs. He does.
Hey, he led Team USA to a World Baseball Classic title.
How could I forget?
That's what
Cooperstown.
That's when I really started to like Stroman, because he was out there like carrying that team and pitching all the time, and I thought he was really cool for that. But yeah,
really,
he seems to have a problem with people for some reason.
Yeah, well, best of luck to him.
I have a little riddle for you guys. What do
go
Cash
ahead.
and Marcus Stroman both have in common?
Me?
They both have Glenn blocked on Twitter.
I'm not blocked by Twitter by Cash.
He's not blocked on Twitter.
Just muted.
I'm muted.
You knew that though.
How long have I been muted? I thought you unmuted me. I thought I told you to unmute me, and you did. All right. You know what?
I think I did.
When we're done recording, you have to unmute me, and I need verification that you have.
Oh man.
I can't.
Speaking of Major League Baseball players being sensitive, there's a Twitter fight between Trevor Bauer and Noah Syndergaard over the weekend, which I thought was ridiculous. So basically, Noah Syndergaard, who has a very good Twitter account, he's very funny. I will give him that.
See ya.
We lost Glenn.
What's going on here? Did anybody have? Do we have an understudy for the host? I don't think we do.
We lost you there, Glenn, for a second. So
We're
I don't
still
know.
going though.
Oh,
So
I'm back.
What are we doing?
All right, good. So Syndergaard tweeted a picture of himself laughing, and the quote was the caption was, "When he decides to go to another team but donates to your charities," and just like him laughing. And Bauer took offense to that, and so did his agent Rachel Luba. They're both very sensitive people, I guess. I didn't think that was like offensive, and then Trevor Bauer took it and he brought it to another level, tweeting like, "Oh, you never make mistakes," and then finding screenshots of Noah like going back and forth with fans and talking about like their wives and stuff. I think the Mets caught a break with Bauer because I don't think he would have handled New York well.
I think he's getting exactly what he wants. I don't think he's sensitive in the slightest. I mean, maybe he is a little sensitive. I think these interactions on Twitter are exactly what is going on behind closed doors in these conference meetings. Like, he has a whole social media team behind him. How many players truly have that? Like,
any publicity is good publicity.
They want this to happen. That's just my take on it. I don't know. I would agree that he is a little bit got a little bit of soft skin, I would say, but I think he could handle New York. I think New York would be exactly what he wanted. I mean, maybe not exactly because he didn't choose them, but like second choice, obviously. Like
I don't know about that. I think if Bauer's ERA reverts back to his career ERA and he was in New York and he was still like vlogging and making all these stupid little videos, I think the New York media and the New York fan base would eat him alive.
Yeah, but if we know anything about Trevor Bauer is that he doesn't really care what the media says. He's creating his own media to spite the people that are talking bad about him. So like, whether he's having a down year, he knows exactly why he's having a down year. One, because of the analytics. Two, because he's Trevor Bauer. So like, he has his whole thing going for him. I don't know. I think Trevor Bauer is very happy with where Trevor Bauer is at the moment.
I think he went exactly where he planned on going the entire time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought it was all silly. Like, neither of them are as good as they think they are. Syndergaard can't stay healthy. Bauer's career isn't, what he's getting paid. I thought it was just a whole silly situation, and they did what they wanted, and they're going to do what they want because they can.
That's a good point. I think I guess what Cash said is right. Any publicity is good publicity, and we were talking about baseball during spring training when there was no news going on at the moment. So Bauer versus Syndergaard. I do hope by the time the Dodgers go to the Citi Field and see the Mets that there's a lot of fans allowed in Citi Field, because I think that'll be really interesting to see the reception that Bauer would get if he's on the mound at Citi Field. Because the Mets fans I've talked to, and the Mets fans I've, I guess, observed on Twitter, they don't really care that Bauer donated to some New York charities. I think they're still very upset that he chose and kind of embarrassed the Mets in the process. He chose the Dodgers. So that'll be fun. More Mets news. Tim Tebow's out, retired, finally. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I saw this and I was kind of relieved. I was never on board with the Tebow thing with baseball. I mean, live your life, do what you want, whatever makes you happy, pursue your dreams. I don't blame Tebow for getting into baseball. I blame the Mets for signing him. And every time he had an at bat, it was taking away an at bat from a kid who actually has potential and actually could have showed the organization something. So I was happy.
Obviously, the Mets don't have a lot of that because they're not very good, meaning potential. I don't have a problem with what they did at all. They had
I thought it was a PR stunt.
Well, that's exactly what it was.
I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good way to run a baseball team.
Zero intentions of bringing him to the big leagues.
Then
so
why
what did they do?
him?
They sold so many minor league jerseys.
Yeah,
the minor league team that had him sold out.
But you're making a mockery of your organization then.
Well, okay. The Mets are already a mockery. Make some money in the process.
But I'm just speaking in the point of view of the Mets. If I ran the Mets, I wouldn't want my organization to be a mockery. I wouldn't add fuel to that fire. Why would I sign Tim Tebow?
Because look at all of the money that it brought into that minor league team.
How much money realistically do you think he actually
between jersey sales and ticket sales? A lot. I'll tell you right now, if we signed Tim Tebow, we would sell out every night.
Though that's different.
Why?
The Miners aren't worth billions and billions of dollars.
No, you're right. But the minor
league
league team isn't either of the Mets.
But they're affiliated with a team.
Doesn't matter. It does not matter. And the owner of the team is not well, at the time wasn't the Wilpons. It's an independent owner. They own the players' rights, but it's not the team that they own.
And it helped all those.
That man made a lot of money
too,
because the Mets decided to sign Tim Tebow.
But what then? But if what you said is true, then why is he then going to big league spring training? Like, if it's not going to be a mockery and a PR thing, and I'd rather see what kids can do in big league spring training.
It's the same reason Will Ferrell played for how many teams in one day?
But that's a one-day thing. Will Ferrell was a one-day thing. Billy Crystal had a one at-bat.
Listen, one day.
But it's one at-bat in one game, not over 3 years of constant at-bats through a full season.
First of all, Tim Tebow is a freak of nature, so he could have been a good athlete. He could have been a good baseball player.
The fact that he hadn't played baseball since his junior year of high school and was able to do what he did is pretty impressive. The guy's an incredible athlete, and he's a great human being. And back to the thing about helping out the minor league team and selling, I remember when he first signed and he came to Lakewood and played the Lakewood Blue Claws, they sold out that entire series before they sold a ticket to any other game for that year. Like, he helped out all of those minor league teams. Wherever he went, it was packed.
That's very true. That's absolutely true. He helped out a lot of teams, not just the Mets.
He did nothing wrong. And he wasn't great. He was older, but he chased his dream. And I think that was his whole point, was to get out to the message to people, chase your dreams, do what you want to do. If you want to go do, I don't know, if you want to go be a ballerina, Glenn, on the,
I would love
New York, you should go do it. You should attempt to go do it.
I want to be a Nick City dancer.
Exactly. If that's what your dream is,
that's not my problem though.
That was his whole point.
I said that before I started talking about why I didn't like it. I said, yeah, it's great that he went out there and he followed his dream and all that. My problem with the Tim Tebow, experiment was that there's guys in the minor leagues that never get a chance. They get buried.
Glenn, let me say something, Glenn. There's a reason why 100 teams would just or 40 teams would just cut. Because there are too many people in minor league baseball. So yeah, there's a kid who lost out on an opportunity to play.
And I think that's sad.
Yeah, but okay, you gotta just listen to this though, because you gotta look at it from this angle. I feel like this is why WAR exists in a way. It's kind of the same concept where it's wins above replacement. It's not that he's taking an opportunity away from a guy like Fernando Tatis Jr. in AAA. He's taking the next spot of the guy that would be next up that they would sign that they have not signed, which I agree with. But I know where you're coming from, but at the same time, Tim Tebow performed in the minor leagues probably better than a lot of people that do get a chance that are.
What's the
20,
highest
21,
level
22.
What's the highest level he got to?
Double A?
Double A, right?
He got
he
to
made
double
it.
A?
He made it to Triple A. He got to Triple A.
Well, now
last
you're
year.
dealing with the
years
prospects,
ago.
though. That's
But he's not dealing. He's playing baseball. Like, not many people can go hit above 200. Like, they call it the Mendoza line for a reason because it's not a freaking good stat line. But like, to be able to hit over the Mendoza line in professional baseball at any level is really impressive. Like,
yeah, but by the time you get to double and triple A, like that's reserved for like the big prospects that are actually going to potentially help your organization.
He hit 273 in Double A.
it's pretty good, man. Like, I don't know.
But my point is, if the Mets were never going to seriously consider bringing him up to the New York Mets, then there was no point.
We move
What
on.
this showed me is that Tim Tebow can, if he chose to go baseball instead of football, that he could have made the major leagues. If you're hitting 273 in Double A after not playing baseball for 10, 15 years, that's crazy, man. Like, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
He could have done it. But, you know, I get your point, Glenn, but they did it for the reasons that they did it. We don't know exactly what they were, but I tip my cap to Tim. I'm a Tebow guy.
No, sure, for sure.
It was good for the sport.
Yeah, I was in support of him. Like, now he can continue to work for ESPN, and
that was another thing. He wasn't even doing. Wasn't he not doing full-time baseball? Wasn't he splitting his time between the SEC network and minor league baseball?
no, I think he was full time. He just
Glenn's
made both.
right. On Saturdays, he was an analyst.
Okay, that's
In
fine.
or out? You know what? Good for him. Congrats on the minor league career.
I
for
hope
3
Tebow
years.
blocks you on Twitter.
I hope he does too. Yeah, I hope everybody blocks me on Twitter. Everyone.
You just
And I'm
said you were a fan
and-
5
and
seconds ago.
I hope like I'm screaming on Twitter and nobody follows me and it's just me screaming into the abyss. That's my true goal in life, just for that to happen to me. Are you happy now, Cash?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. I want to clarify. I'm happy Tim Tebow, tried it. I'm more critical of, the Mets kind of aiding to what was a little bit of a circus at times. Is that fair or unfair?
I agree with it from that perspective.
Okay.
100%. But I would absolutely never blame Tim Tebow.
No, I wish I can get
Yeah.
kind of a cameo. in
Would you
minor
hit
league baseball.
273?
No, I wouldn't. What do you think my batting average would be in Double A?
0.
Zero.
Zero.
A
Your
lot of
on
ours
base
would be
percentage
0.
would be like 0.1.
Yeah, I'd get a walk out of it. Or
Maybe
hit
you
by
get hit by a pitch.
Okay.
Somebody would see your Twitter account and say, I'm going to hit
Marcus
this little kid."
Stroman will be in the minor leagues for a rehab assignment or for whatever reason, and he will hit me, and that will be my.
If it's
on
at
base
Somerset,
percentage.
can we go and heckle him with a base hit ball 4 sign? That'd be great. That would be amazing.
Let's do it.
Please heckle me. You guys heckle me already.
Well, not you, Marcus
It,
Stroman.
would,
you.
it wouldn't make a difference. Are you talking about Stroman or me?
Well, I don't think you're ever going
Stroman.
to play for
Oh,
Somerset, Glenn.
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Glenn is
talking
not
not going to play in the
hypothetical.
Yankees organization.
No, it's fine. Speaking of the Yankees organization, Aaron Judge spoke to the media today, and he has new teeth, and he looks fantastic.
I think this is
So
a
new
great
teeth.
move.
This is big. This is bigger than people think because new teeth means newfound confidence. Newfound confidence means you're gonna hit better.
I'm
And
mildly
he's separating
disappointed.
himself from the Michael Strahan New York thing.
I was just
Like,
gonna say he didn't want to be the second best gap tooth athlete in New York history.
I think he looks great. I think he looks fantastic.
I think it
he's
would have
got
been
a
cool to
huge
have
ear.
his Cooperstown monument with a
Bust.
gap tooth.
I think that's a good idea. I think
No,
that's a good.
he
point.
could still go back and do it. You know,
What's he gonna do? Just get a pair of pliers and
He probably spent so much money
it's
on
a
it, too.
plaque. It's not like a.
well, Glenn, it's just braces.
No, yeah, but that's
he
still
definitely
money.
got veneers. There's no way he had put braces
what?
on
Like,
the
what is it
offseason.
called? Invisalign?
There's no way. His
Been
teeth
going
are
to
so
Invisalign.
pearly white. Come on. Those are brand new
I know.
teeth.
I'm not a dentist, so I don't know.
Implants, for sure. I've seen those on TikTok. Sorry,
Ooh.
any of people.
Start
Go and get veneers
contact-
in LA.
Start contacting all the New York City dentists and.
So you
see what
think
can
he-
find.
He has actually just new teeth.
100%.
I think it's new teeth.
I don't agree.
Just look
But
at the
listen,
color.
whatever.
They're so white. And it's
Because the
completely
last time we
fine.
saw
You
him,
got the money for
the
it.
last time we saw him was October, and now it's what, February? So what's that? 4 or 5 months? Your teeth don't go from what it was to what it is
You
now.
only know of the one gap. The rest of his teeth could have been perfect.
Dude, do you know how big that gap was? It took me 3 years to straighten out my kind of not really that straight teeth when I was 13.
I never had braces.
I mean, you didn't miss out.
Whippity
Really wasn't
freaking
that
do,
great.
Glenn.
My flex in life. That's in the one.
I had him for 5 years.
5 years.
I had him for 11 months.
So exactly. The point is, it takes a little bit longer with like normal braces to get.
Oh, for sure.
That'd be cool to see Aaron Judge jogging the bases in Yankee Stadium with braces on. Imagine he went that route.
Watch him be in a veneers infomercial, and there's all the guys in the comments like, "You're getting new teeth, get in the batting cage. Come on, man."
Ooh, I think he has a great opportunity to get some new endorsement deals with like toothpaste and other dental hygiene companies.
I must say, toothpaste with charcoal in it, best decision you'll
I
ever
heard
make.
that's actually bad for your teeth.
No, the activated charcoal is too coarse for your teeth, but like the Crest and like Colgate charcoal, that's fine.
Okay. I'm glad. We should ask Aaron next time we have him on.
Now, he doesn't get paid for it. He won't tell you anything.
Let's talk a little bit more about Aaron Judge on the field because, his teeth are great, but like what would be even better is if he stayed on the field for the entire season. Now, he was asked about his contract, and he said that there wasn't any contract negotiations over the course of this offseason because he's a couple years away from free agency still, and the Yankees had other business to take care of, especially, DJ LeMahieu and the starting rotation. We spoke about this before about Aaron Judge, and we'll talk about it again for a second. Obviously, when fully healthy and at his best, he's top 10, top 5 player in the game. The problem is we don't see that a lot. How imperative is it that he has a full season, not only for the Yankees this season and their success on the field, but for his financial future in terms of his contract moving forward? He said he incorporated less weightlifting and more yoga. How important is this year for Aaron Judge personally?
I don't know that it's super important. Like, for the reasons that you stated, it's important for the Yankees. It's important for him to like be like, yeah, I can play a full season, but just kind of like for the mental aspect, I don't think it affects contracts much unless he really bombs it. Like, he doesn't have to go off this year, but if he plays average, maybe a little above average, like he's still in line for what he is going to get. I don't know.
What is average for Aaron Judge?
If he hits 30 and 275, like I feel
over
like
how over how many games?
He plays the season, like maybe 145, 140.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
I think he'll run into a little bit more than 30 if he plays that many games.
That's what I'm saying. I just called it average season. I think he will do better, but like if he hits that, like that's like a down year for him, and maybe 275 is pretty like average with where he is, but let's say 250 and 30 home runs.
I think we haven't seen him have like a monster season since 2017, which is 4 years now. So I think he needs to have a big year for him to get that monster contract, because if he doesn't, then the Yankees are going to say, hey, we love you, but you gotta show us that you're the superstar that we thought you were. I think Scott agrees with me.
Absolutely. It comes down to health for him. That's literally all it is, because we saw 2017, he's healthy, 284 average, 52 bombs, 114 RBIs. Came in second in the MVP race. Cash can say whatever he wants about Jose Altuve cheating.
Cheater. He's a cheater. He's a cheater.
There you go.
How we got that out of the way.
But then 2018 and 2019, it's been 278 average, 272 average, 27 home runs both years, 67 RBIs, 55 RBIs, 112 games and 102 games. Like he just hasn't been out there enough.
He needs to give at least 140.
Yeah, he's and in 2017 he played 155. Like that's great. Like if you're there for 155, that's awesome. If you're there for 140, that's good. Like he just needs to be out on the field to earn his contract at this point, because if he's not out there, like the Yankees can't consciously make a long-term investment to this guy if he's not going to be out on the field.
Agreed.
With that.
However, they're going to give him the money anyway. Regardless.
And they probably will, but it's going to look bad when he's not out there playing every single day when he should be.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying they're going to do it. So.
I mean, they gave Severino a 4-year extension 2 years ago. He's played 5 games since. They gave Aaron Hicks a 7-year extension. Aaron Hicks always gets hurt as well.
That's a pretty team-friendly deal, though.
It's only $10 million, but it's still a 7-year commitment nonetheless.
Somebody really didn't like that deal.
I think if
what?
Somebody didn't really like that deal and got a lot of blowback in the group chat for it. And now a lot of other people are flipping sides right now about the Aaron Hicks contract.
We didn't like it.
Who didn't like it?
Both of you asking who didn't like it.
I don't remember not liking it. Did I say I didn't like it?
Oh yeah.
Really? I don't remember.
There's
You
no
said it was team
chance.
friendly. You're like, this is great for us, great for us. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't play baseball. Like he is hurt.
No, that's what I said. I liked the contract. I didn't say I didn't like the contract.
Why would you like paying a guy $70 million for not playing baseball?
No,
It
my
doesn't make
argument
sense.
was that it was only $10 million a year.
It's 7 years that this guy's just a
They can. There's
roster.
no. They can just get rid of him. The Yankees can do that.
Oh yeah, they just get rid of the guy with
Yeah.
2 torn. I don't even. What are these right here? Solar plexus?
Obliques.
Hips,
I don't know.
Torn
Where are your solar
hips.
plexus?
muscles,
I don't forget it.
Limbs.
head, shoulder, knees
Knees.
and toes.
Yeah.
Knees and toes.
We're about at like the toes of the episode at this point.
Moral of the story is that Aaron Judge needs to have a big year this year, and he needs to stay healthy. And hopefully the yoga works. But anything with the Yankees remains to be seen. And if Aaron Judge does get hurt, guys, there's a familiar face coming back that could slide in and take his place.
I'll
and
leave
that's
right
Brett-
now.
And that's Brett Garner. And Brett Garner has come back. He signed a 1-year deal with a player option for his second year.
It's a garden party, baby.
He's never leaving. So 1-year deal, player option for the second. If he doesn't take
How
the
much
player
is the
option,
option?
also a team option. I don't know. I don't have that in front of me.
Wait,
But
so
the
we
moral-
go through that again? If
there's a player option
yeah,
for the second year. If Gardner says no,
yeah,
I don't want the player option, the Yankees then have a team option that kicks in that says no, you will come
What?
back.
That makes no sense at all.
But that's what happened.
That's called a hostage situation, Glenn.
But no, if Gardner has a big year, right, and he wants more money, he can decline it, thinking that he'll get a bigger deal. And then the Yankees are like, no, we're comfortable paying you what we agreed to last year. That's basically what it is.
That's
You know what I'm
fair.
trying to say?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
I didn't think of it that way.
So Gardner's back. We talked last week. We opened up the show, I think, talking about Gardner not being back and how maybe that's better for the team because now they get to see what a Florial can do, what a Frazier can do. We can have Talkman be the fourth outfielder, but then not all that goes out the window, probably except for Clint Frazier being the starter. We think he'll still be the starter. Gardner, obviously, was the last remaining guy from 2009. Not the player he once was. They brought in Bruce and Dietrich to what we thought was to compete for that. Your shaking is really distracting me, Cash.
I'm
by the
sorry.
way.
I'm having a Gardy party.
They brought in Dietrich and Bruce, power off the bench, but
That
It-
guy's jacked.
clearly they'd rather have this speedy / hitter Gardner at this point of his career. So I guess initial reactions about Gardner never dying.
At some point, they got to move on.
No, never.
But he's like the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm never leaving.
I'm not.
The FBI is going to have to come in here and drag me out of here. Like,
Is this the best course of action for the Yankees, though?
Yes.
Probably.
He's a great clubhouse guy.
At $4 million, it's a great deal. But any more than that is no. All right, we talked about this before, and I just want to put on record that I'm not a Brett Gardner hater. I do not want Brett Gardner shipped to the moon. I just do not want the Yankees to overpay for Brett Gardner, and I'm really happy with the situation. So you can't call me a fair-weathered Brett Gardner fan.
No,
And
you
that's
can
really
call
that.
Glenn a fair weather Brett Gardner fan. He's
Well,
a
that you can
fraud.
call.
yeah, I can't
can
wait
call
for
Glenn
the first like Brett Gardner walk-off home run this year where Glenn goes crazy.
I always get Gardy Party in all caps before I watch the home run, even if I'm watching live TV. Somehow Cash just is like there every time.
Oh, yeah,
I love
every
that
time-
guy.
I don't get it.
Every time Brett Gardner hits a home run, I get a text from Cash.
I love that guy. I love him. I'm so happy he's back.
But do
I
you
should
think-
get his name tattooed on my forehead.
off the bench, though. Do you think the Yankees would rather have the power of Bruce or Dietrich than Gardner?
Obviously not.
What is Gardner's role going to be on this team? Just defensive replacement or injury insurance?
Who are you
If
going to
there's-
take out
if
of the
there's-
lineup?
If there's a bug on the top of the dugout, I have a guy for you.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
The bat.
Oh, okay.
Dashing the bat.
That
on
looked really cool. I don't know if your guys' cameras are ordered the same way that mine are, but you'll see in the recording, Scott and Cash's like this were like lined up in sync. That was amazing.
Nice, Scott.
That was good. That was real good.
job.
I was making a point before it. What was it?
No,
You're not a fair weather
It
Gardner.
was
fan.
answering the would you rather have the power off the bench? And my response to that would be, why would you take out power in your lineup for more power? Like
Bam!
who are you taking out? Like, seriously, who does Jay Bruce have more power than any of our starters?
Good point.
I feel like you want the versatility. Like, you want the option to play that speed guy off the bench and
boom, roasted.
Want to be balanced. No, it wasn't a roast. That was just
I'm just excited that Gardy's back.
What do you think? What do you think Clint Frazier feels at this moment? Thinking that it was all going to be.
He tweeted.
Did he? I didn't see it.
Yeah, he said, "I'm really happy you're back, but don't steal my turtleneck."
What?
Oh, that's nice.
And he shouldn't be concerned whatsoever. Like he should be confident enough to know that job is his.
It should be his. There's no reason for it not to be his.
You would hope that he shows up with the mindset of this is my job, and he just takes it by the horns, and
If Clint were smart, he would lean on a guy like Brett Gardner and at least take something from him. I'm not saying morph into Brett Gardner 2.0, but like he can help in the field. He could help with footwork, not necessarily maybe with the glove because they play with opposite hands and it's a different feel out there. But like, I don't know.
This is my mood after Gardner gets signed.
Speaking of cool, look at the guy in the bottom left of your screen.
I just winked, but you can't see that.
One more Yankee news that I saw today that was interesting. Boone said in a press conference that, Stanton's not going to be a primarily a DH. He does see a chance where he gets outfield time this season. I'm not sure that's the best way to go given Stanton's health, but I guess the more versatility, the better. And
I would argue that, Glenn, I think that because if you're DHing every day and your body's not used to playing the outfield, and then you do go play in the outfield because your team needs you, that's when you get hurt, in my opinion. I feel like if you're on some sort of schedule where you're playing the outfield, you're working out in the outfield, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Your body gets used to it.
Right. Stan's not that old.
No, he's like 30, I think.
I don't think so. I'm going to go with 28, 29.
No, he's older than that.
31.
31. So,
Glenn, I told you he's over 30. Why don't you ever listen to me?
No, I don't know. I feel like the Yankees they have Frazier. It's going to be Judge, Hicks, Frazier. They have Garner. We'll see if Tauchman makes the team. We'll see if, either Dietrich or Bruce make the roster. But it's going to be interesting to see if Boone, how he gets a rotation of getting everybody time in the outfield, assuming everyone stays healthy.
It'll definitely be a sight to see. I'll tell you that.
It's a bold assumption, Cotton.
Bold strategy, Con. That's the quote.
Whatever.
You know what assuming does, Cash?
Yes, I do. I'm known for that.
You hate when people assume, even though you assume everything. Scott, how are the Phillies doing? How's everything going out in Philly land?
I mean, outside of JT Realmuto's broken thumb,
unbelievable.
Things are doing pretty good. It's his throwing hand, so he's still able to catch bullpens and do like one-handed hitting drills. But yeah,
said he'll be ready by opening day. How is that possible if he's not going to get live at bats in spring training?
I think he'll be fine. But yeah, not ideal way to start is for him to break his thumb. But I'm excited about their overall depth. I still have my expectations low. I don't want to get hurt. I've been saying it the last couple.
You get hurt all the time.
I don't want to get hurt. I mean, it's my life living here, being a Philadelphia sports fan. But I'm excited about the team. I think they've done a lot of good things. Bryce Harper showed up today. He's ready to go.
Showed up on time.
He was actually a day late because of his COVID test came back late.
Didn't want to be there.
I don't think he wanted to be there.
Nope.
I don't think he wanted to be there.
His COVID test did not get cleared through in time.
Didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
Didi's not here yet because his visa hasn't been approved. They have a couple issues with that. But I'm excited. They play baseball on Sunday against the Detroit Tigers. It's here. It's time.
Well, we know Scott bought a thesaurus and looked up everything that didn't want to be there.
Just we got our excuses ready.
So moral of the story, nothing other than Realmuto, nothing crazy going on so far.
No, nothing's really happened. Scott Kingery lost 15 pounds.
That's nice.
Scott Kingery was like a skinny dude to begin with.
He dropped some weight.
I love that.
I guess I don't know. Alec Boehm put on 15 pounds.
Oh, so
bad.
they just swapped. They
got
just,
a little stronger.
Oh, stronger. Okay. You don't want people getting fat.
No, he got stronger. He filled out his frame. He's a big 6'5" guy. There's a lot of heat about Odubel Herrera being at camp. A lot of people aren't happy about it, but they owe him $10.5 million. So it's kind of a situation where like they're gonna give him a shot to see if he can still play. He hasn't played since 2019. So
is the fan base not happy he's there, or like actual people not happy?
Fan base. I haven't heard any players say we don't want him here. A lot of the players are saying he's got to, earn our respect and our trust, but no one's saying we don't want him here.
wait,
So
did I miss
Yeah,
that?
that's kind of
What happened?
he had a domestic violence situation like Domingo Germán.
Yeah, and Domingo Germán's doing the similar thing because Zach Britton was basically like, you can't choose your teammates, and Germán addressed his teammates today. He hasn't addressed the media yet, so I didn't want to really talk about it until he did that. But yeah, that's something that is something you have to pay attention to in both camps.
Yeah,
Rough.
that seems to be the big storyline so far. But I'm just excited. It's baseball.
I didn't hear Britton say that. He said that about
Germán?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically like, you can't choose your teammates and stuff like that.
What a stupid thing to say.
You watch who you defend right now, Mr. Cash.
I'm not defending what Germán did. However, Chapman
I
did
respect
the
the
same.
hell out of what Zach Britton said.
I don't disagree. But did he say the same thing about Chapman?
Well, he wasn't asked about Chapman. I feel like that's unfair.
Valid point. However, whatever.
I don't think he would have said it if he wasn't asked the question first. And he answered it in probably the best way you could have answered it, with towing the line between giving your opinion and still being a good teammate to everybody that it matters that you are a good teammate to in your eyes. Does that make sense?
Fair.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. It's a tough thing to talk about, and it's an unfortunate thing that we have to deal with in our society. So I don't want to get too into it. I want to end this with Cash, because Cash is very excited because there's a schedule for the Sussex County Miners. So you want to talk about that?
93 days away from opening day.
Are you going to give me credit for bringing it up today for you?
Glenn, I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Maybe I'll unmute you now. But yeah, we are 93 days away from opening day. I could not be more excited. I'm going back to the office on Monday, and I cannot wait. Big things in store for the Sussex County Miners this year.
Huge
upgrades going to happen. Huge things going on in Sussex County, and I actually cannot wait.
Fans?
There will be fans.
Good. I'm
So
glad.
will the game get played?
I promise you it will.
I've been there twice, still haven't seen a game.
What do you mean? How's that happen? Rain?
Wait, what was the second one?
Well, I didn't go for a game one time, so I mean that was my fault. I just kind of went to dress up in a costume, but I shouldn't really be revealing this right now.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter. So
What were you dressed up as?
What do you think?
If I say, then it will ruin it for the kids, Glenn. Okay.
Were you the Pringles guy again?
Yes.
Like in college?
Yes.
You're all good. Keep going.
Okay. Anyway, yes, Tyler, I promise you there will be a game when you come.
Okay, perfect.
And we have a very good roster being formed around our shortstop, Cito Culver.
Friend of the show.
We are very excited to get going, and I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome year.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because I think we all need baseball back in our lives. I was watching Vanderbilt yesterday. They had a doubleheader.
They're also a double-A baseball team.
They have some arms out there.
Oh my God, they're gonna have the number 1 and 2 picks in the draft, and Kumar Rocker,
Jack Leiter, right?
Jack Leiter, and
who's
Kumar
the other
Rocker.
kid?
Kumar Rocker.
Okay, yeah, he throws heat, man.
Kumar Rocker is so good.
He had an 18 strikeout no hitter in the College World Series as a freshman. He is unbelievable. They are so fun to watch. But yeah, Jack Leiter too, from New Jersey.
College baseball doesn't get the love that it deserves compared to the other collegiate sports out there.
Well, it just doesn't get the airtime. So.
I know, but like you watch it and they hit a single and they're like all fired up, and it's an exciting brand of baseball.
That's why I love it. I love watching it for the energy.
I've been watching college baseball too, actually.
God, Florida had a tough loss against Miami.
Yeah, they dropped 2 out of 3, and they walked a lot of batters as the number 1 team in the country going into the weekend.
Hate to see that.
Not great.
My winner of the week.
Walking a lot of batters sounds like Monmouth Club baseball.
Oh,
My
absolutely.
winner of the week is the Coastal Carolina baseball team. They played a doubleheader.
Ooh, tell me why.
They played a doubleheader against Duke. I believe it was on Sunday. Yes, it was Sunday. Played a doubleheader against Duke. The first game of the doubleheader, they were down 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, and they hit a walk-off grand slam, and it was awesome. So big shout out to Coastal Carolina. It was very exciting. Yeah, it was very cool.
I've been to their campus. It's really nice.
Beautiful campus.
It's very nice there. Very nice.
Tyler, you got anything for me before I walk this off?
No, I mean, I'm like kind of woken up now. I started yelling like halfway through the episode, so.
But now you got to edit this. That's kind of.
I'm editing this right away, going to sleep, and getting up and doing it all again tomorrow. So let's have some fun.
I want to plug my my article that I wrote. You guys are gonna be very excited to read it. I hope you guys do. I previewed the NL West, and I'm going to preview all the divisions because it's 6 weeks till opening day, which means 6 divisions to preview.
Nice.
And it's a lot of work. Like, it was easy to do the Dodgers and Padres, but getting into like the Diamondbacks and the Giants and the Rockies took a lot of research. So
I'm sure
that's something that I hope comes out tomorrow. We'll see.
Cool. I'm excited.
Before we go, I think we'd be, remiss if we didn't mention Albert Pujols. And
oh yes.
Oh,
was it? I heard conflicting reports that he didn't decide.
His wife said he was retiring, and then they went back and said it's the last year of his final contract. But he's 42.
Yeah.
I think this is the end of the road for him. But all-time great.
I would like it if the National League brought the DH back and he could finish out one more year next year in St. Louis as the DH. I think that would be awesome.
That would be wild.
That would be cool.
Because the Cardinals should be good for the next couple of years, especially in a bad division. They got Arenado now. So one more run with St. Louis next year, who knows?
The greatest right-handed hitter of all time.
Very great right-handed hitter.
He's right up there. I mean, he's going to finish a tick short of 300 for his career at 299, but
you never know.
How much more does he need for 700?
Home runs, 38. So he's probably going to fall short of that. But like, this
I feel
guy,
like he should just give it a shot. Like if he can go 20-20 the next 2 years, he's got it. You know,
it's not that easy for him.
I know it's not easy.
It's not easy, but like when he first came into the league, man, he was incredible. His rookie year, he hit 329 with 37 bombs and 130 RBIs. Like that's like some guys peak, and that was his first year in the big leagues. And he gets a lot of flack for his contract with the Angels, but he was still pretty productive, and he was there every day. Like he outside of last year, he only played under 100 games once, and that total was 99 games in 2013. Like he was there every single day, like ready to go. Like,
yeah, I remember that contract. Like they signed him and CJ Wilson at the same time, right, from Texas, and they also had Josh Hamilton, and that was also the same time Trout was coming up. And you thought that this team was going to be very good. And other than 2014, which I think was his second year in Los Angeles, other than that, they really haven't been competitive. So it's sad to see. It's you remember the first half of his career in St. Louis, and he was, as Cash said, probably the best right-handed hitter we've ever seen. But not all great players age the same way, and he, production dropped off a little bit when he went to Los Angeles, but that doesn't take away the fact that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer that should get upwards of 90%.
Yeah, he should be close to unanimous. He won't be, but he should be very, very close.
And it's also nice to see, like, he played during the middle and end parts of the steroid era. He's a guy that stayed clean and still put up the power numbers that he did.
Yeah, just an absolute monster. Everything he did was incredible, and he was just popular. Never had any issues. Beloved by St. Louis and I guess the Angels fans. He'll be missed. But
do you think he's going to get his number retired as a Cardinal? Do you think he gets it as an Angel based on longevity?
Possibly. Just because of how iconic he is, and like he's probably their biggest free agent signing ever. So I would say probably gets a retirement there as well. But that definitely goes in as a as a Cardinal.
I hope he gives a definitive answer soon so he gets the farewell tour that he deserves, because I think that he should be celebrated throughout baseball, especially if there's fans. I think that's important too. I think fans should.
That would be pretty cool.
So with that said, that'll just about do it for this episode of Base Hit Ball 4. Next week we will dig deeper into spring training. We'll have some games to talk about. So that'll be really fun, and we're looking forward to having the season ramp back up. And we're only 6 weeks away from opening day, so that's awesome. So for Tyler Blumenstick, Scott Roswald, Alex Cashman, my name is Glenn Denigris. We will see you next week.